What happened to Kamila Valieva since the doping scandal? Kamila Valieva's story is one of the most complex and emotionally charged in modern figure skating. What began as a historical rise turned into a global scandal, and the fallout continues to shape her life, her career, and the reputation of Russian figure skating. This is what has happened since the doping case, the consequences, the decision, and where Kamila Valieva stands today. In December 2021, Kamila Valieva tested positive, a banned heart medication used to treat cardiac conditions. The result was not made public immediately, and she continued preparing for the Winter Olympic Games in Beijing. When the test became known during the Games, it instantly became international, placing enormous pressure on a 15-year-old skater who, up until that moment, was regarded as the most complete talent of her generation. Despite the controversy, she competed in the Olympic team event, helping the Russian team earn what was then seen as the gold-winning performance. But once the investigation began, her results were placed in question. From that moment, her career entered a period of instability, and the path forward changed permanently. Because Valieva was a minor at the time, the case raised serious questions about who should be held accountable. Athletes under 16 are classified as protected persons, which shifted responsibility on coaches, doctors, and the wider support system. Multiple voices inside Russia publicly stated that adults around her should have been examined, especially medical staff. The situation highlighted a gap between the formal responsibility and the practical consequences. Despite expectation, no adults from her environment were punished. The outcome centered almost entirely on Valieva, even though the rules imply that adults are meant to protect minors from these situations. After a lengthy legal process, the Court of Arbitration for Sport issued a 4-year ban, beginning retroactively from 25th of December 2021. The ruling disqualified all of her competitive results from that date onwards, including European Championships, national competitions, and the Olympic team event. Records have been updated, titles reassigned, and the medal standing officially changed. This decision removed not only medals and the ranking, it removed time. Those 4 years overlapped with the period when many female skaters reached the height of their technical ability and artistic maturity. In women's figure skating, especially inside Russia, competitive windows can be short. Missing 4 years does not simply pause a career, it reshapes its trajectory. The timing of the ban had a direct consequence for major events. Valieva's suspension ended in late December 2025, after the qualification period for 2026 Winter Olympics. Even though she could technically compete again before the Games begin, she could not take part in the qualification path leading to them. For that reason, Milan 2026 is no longer a realistic competitive target, closing off what many once imagined as a redemption arc in the Olympic return. Although standing has been officially adjusted and now champions recognized, Valieva still holds the physical medals from these events. This detail continues to generate discussions. Some people argue the objections should be handled over to the official recognized winners. Others say the performance happened on the day and the medals represent what unfolded on the ice at the time. Regardless of where people stand, the medals have become symbolic, representing a moment that remains emotionally unresolved in the skating community. The case has a significant financial impact on the sport. Her appeal to the Swiss Federation Tribunal was rejected and she was ordered to contribute to legal costs. The International Skating Union also reported a major rise in legal expenses connected to the case. These details illustrated how expensive the fallout became. A single doping case involving a protected minor influenced spending, legal strategy, and international policy discussion around the supervision and athlete welfare. Despite the ban, Valieva had continued to train consistently. She remains inside anti-doping monitoring pools, meaning she's still regularly tested, and this indicates that she's being prepared as an athlete whose return must be met strict regulatory standards. She has also shifted her training environment. Kamila Valieva is now associated with Tatiana Navka's skating academy and works under Svetlana Sokolovskaya, a coach known for developing athletes with longevity, balance, and technical refinement. This change represents a step away from the environment most associated with her early success and the scandal, and towards one centered on rebuilding, stability, and long-term preparation. Publicly available footage shows that her physical condition has transformed multiple times. Periods of weight fluctuations were met with criticism, particularly because maintaining Ultra C jumps content required precise physical balance. More recent appearances, however, shows a return to a lighter, more athletic state. Training clips reveal triples being restored with improved consistency, suggesting that she's not skating solely for shows but preparing for competitive level demands. The process demonstrates a return to athletic discipline, which is essential for any serious attempt to re-enter high-level skating when the opportunity becomes available. In interviews, Valieva had spoken about how she wanted to be remembered as someone who acts with kindness, supports others, and remains open-hearted. She has also stated she would not erase her past because the experience shaped who she is today. Inside Russia, their symbolic value remains extremely strong. Leaders and officials have expressed public support, offering resources for future projects, whether that means skating shows, school, academy, for other initiatives. She also expressed interest in coaching later in life, once her competitive journey eventually concludes. This detail shows that regardless of competitive status, she is viewed as someone with a long-term future in the sport, not just a former athlete, but a figure who may help shape the next generation. The Valieva case extends beyond one athlete. It brought global attention to responsibilities in youth sports, highlighting inconsistencies in how minors are protected and intensified discussions about coaching methods, medical supervision, and competitive expectation placed on a teenager. Her absence from competition has also changed the competitive landscape. Without her presence, the technical ceiling in women's skating shifted, and international rivalries took new directions. For some, the case became a symbol of systematic problems. For others, it became an example of how international bodies treat athletes inside a politically sensitive environment. In either interpretation, the case has permanently influenced now the sport, and it's viewed and discussed. So real question, can Kamila return? What a comeback would actually look like for her. Kamila Valieva's competitive results have been erased. Her ban has run through years that typically define an athlete's prime, and the 2026 Olympics are no longer accessible due to qualifying timing. Yet, despite all of these obstacles, the possibility of her return is competitive. It's not fully closed. Whether a comeback becomes reality depends on three core factors: physical capability, psychological resistance, and structural access to competitions. Each of these carry their own challenges, and understanding them shows what a Valieva's return would actually look like beyond headlines and wishful thinking. The foundation of any return is the body. Valieva's early dominance was defined by a combination of technical difficulty and complete musical expression. But technical difficulty is not static. It requires continuous physical balance, conditioning, and adaptation. The past 2 years have shown visible changes in Valieva's physique. Periods of increased weight followed by notable weight reduction, revealing a shift back towards an athletic form more capable with high-impact technical jumping, which shows performance and training clips indicating that her triple jumps are being restored with stability, and her edge quality remains intact. Flexibility, which often declines during prolonged break, continues to remain. These details together show preparation aims and more than exhibition skating. However, returning to elite competition would require more than restoring triples. In women's figure skating, particularly within Russia, long-term competitiveness has increased depending on how high base value, triple axel, attempts, quad rotations, and consistent content. The question is not whether she can jump, she can. The question is whether she can reintroduce difficult content in a sustainable way after years of technical interruption. It is possible, but doing so safely requires careful progression rather than rapid execution. After the Beijing Olympics, Valieva's skating began to reflect internal strain. Programs that once projected outwards, confidence, expansion, expressive, started to disappear inwards and tensioned, with hesitation entering jumps, face-offs, and overall performance energy. The shift is not unusual when a skater experiences public scrutiny, results being overtuned, and prolonged absence from competition. The psychological cost can be as significant as a physical injury. Returning from that requires not only training volume, but trust. Trust in the body, trust in the environment, and trust in the future. Valieva continues to train consistently, indicating long-term commitment rather than temporary coping. She has publicly expressed a desire to contribute to the sport beyond her own skating, and this broadened identity often increases emotional instability. Athletes who see themselves solely as competitors can struggle to rebuild confidence after setbacks. Those who recognize borders, purpose can re-energize with competition without the same pressure to reclaim a past version of themselves. If Valieva returns to elite competition with this widened perspective, her skating may evolve. It may prioritize refinement and artistry over maximum difficulty, or it may gradually reintroduce difficult elements once consistency is stable. Either path requires psychological resilience, which cannot be measured from the outside but can be inferred from continuity at training and physical condition. Even if Valieva becomes physically prepared and psychologically ready, a practical question remains where she can compete. The ban ends in December 2025, but internationally, access for Russian athletes depend on wider geopolitical and sporting decisions. If international restrictions remain in place past 2025, Valieva may only compete domestically or in independent events. If restrictions are erased, pathways to international competition reopens, but not automatically. Her absence from competition ranking means she would not have immediate Grand Prix assignments. She would need to enter events through federation allocation or secondary qualification, depending how the international calendar is structured at the time. Domestically, she would be eligible to return to Russian nationals or internal qualifications as soon as her ban ends, and her training at a new academy shows preparation for serious competition, rather than only show performances. However, competing only within Russia would limit ranking opportunities and exposure, making an international comeback more gradual even if permitted. A return structurally possibly, but it requires alignment between her readiness and the broader competition landscape. There are 3 realistic comeback pathways. First, a performance-focused comeback, domestic competition, selected international events if permitted, strong skating emphasizing consistency and expression, and the path prioritizes control and stability while re-establishing competitive identity. The second option is a technical ambition comeback, gradual reinforcement of high base value jumps once physical stability is confirmed. This will redefine her as a threat, again, but carry a higher physical cost. The third option is a delayed return with transitions into coaching or creative leadership, where skating remains central but competition is not the primary measure of success. This path will preserve longevity and influence even without podiums. All 3 options remain open. Not one contradicts the other. A comeback can evolve from one scenario into another depending on progression. Before Valieva's suspension, women's skating was defined by rise of ultra-C elements, single skating, landing quads, rapid technical progression, and increasing difficulty at a young age. Valieva wasn't the only skater landing quads, but she was the first to combine them with complete components, edges, transition, emotional clarity, and seamless choreography. Her removal from competition showed the pace of technical escalation. In her absence, programs shifted towards stability and interpretation. The number of women consistently attempting quad decreased across elite competition. Without Valieva, there was no single athlete who pushed both technical and artistic boundaries simultaneously, a return that includes restored high difficulty in content and will introduce pressure on others to compete not only in base value, but in how that difficulty is presented. Even without quads, her overall skating quality sets a benchmark that influences her components and the judges' value. Valieva's early programs were known for emotional continuity and fluid phrasing. Her skating treated choreography as language and not decoration. If she returned after years of physical and emotional development, her style may evolve. A more mature interpretation could shift expectations for female skating. In their late teens and early 20s, an age bracket often overshadows by younger competitors. A successful return that emphasizes expression as much as difficulty could encourage longer careers and influence choreography to prioritize musical sensitivity over maximum difficulty of the start of a program. This would not erase the technical revolution. If Valieva competes only domestically at first, the Russian field would regain a central figure who draws attention and raises competitive intensity. Skaters training in the same system would measure themselves not only against technical expectation but against her execution, timing, and presence. If international access opens, her return creates a unique situation. A skater whose potential is known, whose identity is established, but whose recent competitive resources do not exist. Her entry would disrupt seeding, influence judging expectation, and immediately become a narrative focused on any event she enters. Whether she aims for major titles or selected competition, her presence would shift how athletes pace their season and how federations plan strategic entries for athletes re-emerge after such an absence with comparable influence. Outside of Russia, Valieva's name is linked to doping case. This was placed in Valieva under a level of attention of uncommon for returning athletes. Her program, jump choice, scoring, and public presence would be interpreted both through skating performance and through what her case represents. A comeback would not be neutral, it would be a statement. Whether intended for some, it would signify resilience, for others, controversies. The years without Kamila did not erase what she contributed, instead they made visible how much had depended on her presence. Technical ambition combined with artistic clarity, competitive tension linked with emotional impact, and the sense that women's skating was entered a new era through a single athlete. Her absence did not leave the sport empty, it rebalanced it. A comeback were not to restore the past, it would interact with the present. If she steps back onto competitive ice, she will not be returning to the world she left. She will be entering the world shaped in the space she left behind. And in that space, her return would not only be continuation, it would be a new beginning.